Okay, the agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. We call the meeting to order at 5:38 p.m. We approve the minutes. October 17th and October 24th by unanimous consent. And we're going to go back now to public comment because we had a problem getting the public on.
Right.
They are with us now, so we'll do committee comment, then public comment. Anything from the committee?
How many people are on?
Just
Two, just one, Nancy.
Okay.
I have a concern though with our half recording. I'm wondering if we should just reapprove the minutes again
Oh,
because we
it
got
wasn't
kicked out.
recorded.
Right.
Yeah.
It was recording, but then
Yeah.
we got kicked out. So now we're in a whole new recording. So
Yeah.
I would just
Okay.
just go through the approval.
October 17th minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for October 17th as submitted.
second.
Roll call vote. Donna,
Yeah, aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and myself. October 24th.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written for October 24th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, Donna,
Aye.
Sue?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So those both are unanimously approved. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none. Hi, Nancy. Now we're gonna go on to ongoing business.
Bill's in waiting room.
Oh,
He joined us.
he's back.
Okay.
So
He's
what-
here.
Do we want to do Bill? Is Bill on here?
Bill
Yeah,
is the
assistant-
first one.
assistant
Yeah.
Sewer business manager.
The new hire, but is there
Correct.
ongoing business?
No.
Okay, so Bill, we're with you, new hire, assistant to the sewer business manager. Take it away.
Can you hear us? Bill, can you hear? Oh, you're muted, Bill.
Yep, finally got on.
Yay!
Wasn't easy.
So what do you got for us on the new hire, assistant to the sewer business manager?
Oh, talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Camille, we interviewed a couple of candidates and Camille shined. The other candidate was awesome too, but Camille had more direct experience with the job. She did a very similar job in Shirley with sewer and water. And yeah, her background, her skill set, it matched what we're looking for. So we're excited to have her on board.
Okay, and what was the recommendation?
Step 4.
Does anybody have any questions on Camille for Bill? What grade is it?
An 8.
8, step 4.
Grade
Confirm
8,
that
step
real quick.
4.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we accept the HR director's recommendation to bring this new hire, the assistant to the sewer business manager in at grade 8, step 4.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Donna,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that unanimously passes.
Thanks, Bill.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right,
Now
You're-
we can get to-
You're all set to go. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Warrant article language for annual town meeting regarding section 70-18 and 70-19.
So vacation and sick.
And what
it's all done.
is that this?
So what is it?
This
What's the
was
change?
this was an ask from the last meeting that Nancy and I worked together to set up a warrant article for annual town meeting to change the vacation and sick time to days. And that's what Nancy has prepared. It's still a little fuzzy on the vacation time for new hires. We haven't quite figured out a way to accommodate that.
Okay,
So
I guess I thought this was rolled up in what Wendy was gonna do. You know, as she looked at vacations and
I think there's 2 parts going on. One is what do you do for those who change their hours?
Yep.
In a fiscal year, which is,
the other.
yeah. And then this is kind of a way to solve that if we say days, but still if you're a new hire and you come in May, which is what Nancy and I were discussing, you get one day for every full month that you
Correct.
work. So in May, you have June.
Correct.
So you have 8 hours to use from July 1 to June 30th. And then you'll get your 2 weeks. Is that right, Nancy?
And that could
Oh.
be,
That's how it is currently.
current- and
Um,
that is part of the Wendy
It is
Review.
part of it. It's kind of tangled in,
into it.
yes.
So these articles are to do just to change it to days. If there's a couple of open issues, what are they? I'm not sure I understand exactly what we're voting for or what we're putting in the warrant.
The,
These things.
No, I got them on my hand.
yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
request was just to put an article to change time from hours to days.
And how does that impact?
So,
I do,
Just in general. So Nancy, does this answer kind of all the questions that it
well,
doesn't
it
answer,
doesn't,
doesn't answer the questions that being reviewed, but to change it from hours to days, just, is there a piece that isn't clear yet? You just said there's a couple of
I
things that
think
aren't
this
clear
would
yet.
solve what Wendy's been looking into, where her focus has been. So if that's the case, if somebody changes hours, doesn't matter if you're 28, 32, or 36, you're getting X amount of days, not hours.
And we didn't want them to have to wait a full year.
Yeah, if the accrual part is gone, is that right?
No, that's
no,
still,
we keep the accrual part of
that's
it.
what she's
There's-
reviewing.
It's-
The new hire portion of it is tricky unless you're gonna change the whole accrual process. However, the workaround would be to give more personal time in their first year as opposed to vacation time. There's no accrual involved. There's no payout if they should leave.
That's a bigger ask.
That might be a way to work around a new hire.
So
Okay.
if we're only addressing this in the warrant to change it from hours to days, is there any issues, Nancy, that could come up as a result of any one employee thinking there's a disadvantage to this?
No, I don't think it's a disadvantage.
Okay,
Just
And
change,
is it-
keeping the accrual process as it is and changing the accrual hours to days.
so the employees don't really feel the impact of that because it's still going to be calculated based on whatever their day is.
Right, if they take a Tuesday and they work 10 hours, it's gonna be a day. If they take Wednesday and work 8 hours, it's gonna be a day. A day is a day, no matter what.
Right. Right.
So the other part of it, which is the changing the accrual, was really needed more research to determine the impact of that and how it might. So that's what Wendy was gonna go off and research more on,
Yeah.
not just this. That's
mean-
why I didn't realize it was gonna be separated.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Nancy, it's, I think having two sides to this. Obviously I understand the employee aspect of it, but I think the functionality of it is going to be tough, not for me, but for Nancy, who has to maintain two different types of accrual systems, because right now, unfortunately, this is the universal accrual system that we have.
Correct.
But we recognize that it's also a problem.
Correct.
So I think that's where we're stuck. We don't really
So
have a.
is the
easy
warrant to
fix.
change it on July 1st, or to change it when?
Yeah, for July
July
1st. Yeah.
At the May town meeting.
Yeah.
May warrant.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was reading Maynard's today, Pittsburgh's today, and how I read most of new hires. They have a probation period, 60 months.
Yep.
You still accrue your time.
Yep.
The day you start. So like you said, you start in May, you get the 1 day for May. You can't take any of that time till you've either earned the position or you've not earned the position.
And how many months did you say?
6 months.
Oh, I thought you said 16.
No, 6 months. And then if I want to extend you 3, because you might have potential, but we're still unsure, you're still accruing, but you can't take it till you're either a permanent employee or not.
And that was something that we had discussed too, and it's, okay, so if we do that at the 6 month, so now come July 1, you're only allotted 1 week for that year, because we're advancing you what you're accruing in the current year, rather than depositing both weeks and I'm using a 2-week as an example, as of July 1. So what's best for employees? I don't know. To advance that 1 week, so you have 1 week in the first year, 1 week in the second year.
So did I hear you correct? This isn't until July 1st.
Yeah, this is the Maytown meeting.
Of
And
2020.
the accrual question that we have Wendy working on as a secondary issue is also a target for July 1st for next year.
Oh,
Maybe.
I think she had mentioned retro, but it will be addressed at the
Right.
town meeting, yes.
So,
This year.
If ready,
This May.
this
so
May.
why wouldn't we put them together? To have one,
I don't have a solution. We
Oh,
don't have a
okay.
solution to it yet. So
Well, and I don't know, new to me. Are you saying like the other unions are different? So Nancy would now have 2 books?
if we changed this for the SAP only, then yes.
Okay.
But right now, it's all the same type of accrual.
Currently.
Correct.
I'm confused. I thought that everyone but SAP employees were accruing
no,
by
no,
days. No.
No,
Oh, so I misunderstood that.
no.
So would it behoove us, don't know, question, to ask the other unions to have a meeting to discuss if they all feel that the town universally would want to move to this, so we are all on one.
I don't
Page.
think municipalities work that way. I mean, you know better than most of us
Yeah,
because
I
you
think
work
we'd
in a
have to
municipality,
incorporate
but all
it
the
in.
contracting issues are done within the contracting
yeah.
base, not, they don't have a,
Well, but we're changing the whole dynamic for SAP. and
well, we're
because
not
that was
really
part-
changing at all. So the question becomes, sometimes if you think about the history, that one group will go off and do something, and then the next time that the contract is up, the
Follow.
next group will say,
Yeah.
well, I want to do what they did. So
Yeah.
they'll catch up over a period of probably one contract cycle. So just
Could be
like the
3 years,
SAP,
but yeah.
SAP is a little behind on a couple of things,
Yeah.
and they'll catch up during this period. So they'll all catch up eventually if that's what they choose to do. But this is really only changing a little tiny piece of it, which is instead of naming it hours, you name it days. And then the Wendy part that she's reviewing, which may or may not come up for the next fiscal year, is should we change our whole accrual process? And I think what we learned from Nancy last time is that maybe isn't too much issue with doing that if we do it correctly, because the budgeting process isn't going to be impacted by it
Right.
at all.
Mm.
So if SAP does it, then the others can determine whether they want to do that over time. Isn't that right? Is that right, Nancy?
It won't affect the budget, no.
Right. And the others might join in doing this project in their own contract years later.
It's not a given, but yes, they would try
They
to
could.
negotiate it.
They could,
Yeah.
if they
I
want.
guess my question with changing the accrual process is what would happen to the current employees' accruals?
Well, that's
because
a part
they
of what,
didn't- They didn't get it on hire. So are they gonna get an added year to what their accrual would be?
well, that's
would
part of
impact
the whole project research to determine what are the things that could blow up and aren't equitable. And that's an unknown, Nancy.
So it sounds like, I don't know if Wendy had done, the research on it, but without her here.
I would
We
guess
can't-
it's
yeah,
gonna
so
take
I
a little
would
while to do
Just
that.
because, given
Yeah.
time and stuff, I would,
So can we take
Asked to
this
look
under
at
our
these.
hats,
yeah,
read
you
it,
can, yeah,
process it?
You want this to be on the warrant, though.
in May,
In May.
Oh,
In May.
oh,
In
May.
May.
in May.
In May.
Oh, so we have
Time.
time.
And
I
I
know, me
have
too.
a lot of,
Because
that's why I
I'm
was,
thinking, wait,
What's the
how
urgency?
could we
that's why I asked
possibly
Nancy,
get
I'm
this
like,
in the
why are
special
we
town
like
meeting?
so under the gun
That's
to
why
do this for May?
clarified.
Okay,
Yeah.
for May.
May.
All right, got
Okay,
it.
so we have time. Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
That's-
That's why I clarified.
And then she
that.
did
We
the
will
same
re-
for sick leave
We
as
will
well,
review it.
so.
Thanks,
yeah.
Nancy.
I would like to request that you think about the personal leave.
Okay,
also.
you had said that at the last meeting too, and we put that on Wendy's charter as well to make sure that we do both things at the same time.
Well,
thanks.
I'm-
I'll
I'm
make a note of
talking-
it.
Yeah, I'm talking about giving additional personal time to new hires instead of vacation time.
Well, we'll look at that as part of the project overview to
And
see if
that-
that's a way to fix it.
Yeah, that would only be for that first year, right, Nancy? That's what you're
Correct.
saying?
Yeah. I mean, days are days,
That
whether,
is good.
whether they're, you know, written as vacation or personal, it's still time off.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't mess up anybody's accrual, or you don't have to pay it out either if they should leave. So it's just a thought.
Yep, it's a good one.
Thank
But I
you.
can imagine that somebody, let's say I was hired last year. Somebody gets hired this year and gets this personal time extra. I'm gonna be mad because
Well,
I
yeah.
don't get the same.
If you do anything for a new hire, it's not going to be equitable to the current employees because they didn't get it. So
Right.
that's another decision whether you want to do that or not.
Unless it's defined as employees starting as of hired on July 1st, 2024.
Or
Define it
there's
that
a
way.
probational period or
Something.
something.
So that's
Or-
what's important, I think, is to get
Or
the,
you let them take it in advance for some small amount of it, a week. You know, if you're a
Mhm.
brand new employee in
so you
May.
get 3.
Why don't we just get rid of the accrual altogether?
No,
That's what I'm thinking.
that's part of the liability issue.
I
Well,
just,
but corporations do this, you get.
I know,
it's-
but they do it for the wrong reasons. They do it so they don't have a liability.
No.
That's why they do it.
like,
and so-
well, I don't want to, well, I'm sure I have more conversation. But if you look at other towns and communities similar to us,
Mm.
like they figured this out.
Figure
It's
it out.
not, people aren't waiting of work to year to get their backlog.
Yeah.
And it's all part of being a comparable or a town I want to come
Yeah.
work for.
Yeah,
I reached out
competitive,
to
Right.
Harvard.
No-
and they're on the
nobody wants
same
to wait a
accrual as
year
us,
Of
unfortunately.
service to be able to get a day.
right.
My assistant started in January, her 6-month probation period ended. In July, she got 2 weeks vacation.
Mm.
And now January 1st, she'll get her full load again. But anyway,
Okay.
Yeah, so
Part
that's
of the
what we need to
review.
see if Wendy had gathered that. If
Yeah.
not, that's something that we need to
Okay.
look at.
Okay.
to gather.
So we did that. Now we're on re-rating of positions, library and COA. So library page, what are we looking to do
You
here?
guys need this? You
I got it.
prefer or no?
Yeah.
No, I got
I don't see it readily available.
Okay.
no. Oh, no, I don't need that.
Oh, you don't need that.
I've got the,
You guys have this for
I got that there.
Okay, so we're
every page.
number 1, knowledge, training and education, correct?
No,
Yes.
it's really looking at what we have done with them already.
I thought you were re-rating them. I thought you
Oh.
said you wanted to go through them all again because now that
If we,
you've gone
I
through it-
thought we only if we needed to. All right,
Oh.
we can do them all if you want.
What, that's what I understand. Whatever you.
When I
guys
saw
wanna
this,
do.
I said, okay, we'll
Oh,
do
all of the library positions.
All of them, yeah, that's what I thought. Especially where these two, I think, were the beginning groups is
and they
what you
came out
wanted
fine,
to.
is that-
Well, that's what we were like Sue had said last meeting.
Right.
I think it was you who said that we might have been more generous because it was the first go around or not so generous, so.
And you're keeping.
Well, and
I
what
was
I
looking
did
at
is
scores.
I
This
looked
is
at
what we
the,
did.
So you did your homework. That's what that's what
gave
she
us-
said. She did her
So-
homework.
Good for you.
Tell us about
Because
your
how did you
homework.
do that?
Without you?
We never sat together.
well, never had a chance. Her husband, I was out, she was out, so we will
Good
know.
for you.
So what I did was the blue is just the ones we want to discuss tonight, and I put them in the categories that we now have them. You know, the different grades, so that I could look at them comparison to what the points are, and are the points comparable to other people of similar, and where are the anomalies? That's why I didn't have that sheet to kind of help me with that.
So the blue ones that you have highlighted, there's the library assistant, library page,
Oh, I have both COA because we were doing two, so that's
Oh.
why there's so many.
and COA.
Yeah. So
Are there only 3
Seven.
library positions?
one,
Yes.
two. So if you take a look at, so one of them is now rated as, they're gonna be a 6,
Which one is that?
the library assistant.
And was a,
5? That's
It
gonna be
was
a
a
new
5.
6?
Well,
That's like a 9.
you know the proposed grade,
Yep.
Nance, is that, yes.
It's okay, I
Donna.
translated.
I wasn't sure, was the personnel committee grade the right grade or the proposed grade the right grade? I wasn't
Oh,
clear on your
yeah,
spreadsheet.
yeah, fair enough. Because I also started working on it.
Yeah.
And I was doing pivot tables off of the original.
Right.
And so I renamed that column Personnel Committee Rubric Grade, right? Because I didn't want it to say, because we've had issues with people coming for public comment. I didn't want it to say Personnel Committee Grade, because
Yeah.
it's
So the-
Then
confusing.
it sounds like
So the
it's
one that was
done
listed
deal.
as personnel is the right
Yeah.
future grade
It's
potential.
the rating that the personnel
Yeah.
committee.
That's what that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So, so when you look at,
The assistant at a
so
six.
what I was looking at all the sixes, so that's where the library assistant came up. And then I was looking at the points to see, is there some reason that,
Oh, all the sixes.
it looked out of place with the others?
Right.
And it really didn't. It was a little low. There's a couple that are a little high, but that's in a different family.
Administrative assistant to conservation is 370. Library assistant's 385, so not a big.
So in most of them, so what I was looking at is when you look down here, you start to look here
Mhm.
to see where are the anomalies
Yeah.
in the code. So if all the sixes are here, then level of experience, which ones look a little out of place, which is kind of how I was trying to assess it. So the library aid really was pretty consistent. Across.
Well, there's a big one here. 140.
Yeah.
What's that one?
The library assistant confidential information
Yeah, it's 100.
100.
is 100, which is unusual.
No, not libraries.
The, no, the
Oh,
COA
COA
director
COA
dietary
dietary aid.
Yes.
is
And that's
100.
why. That's why, because they have to know all that personal information. That's why it's 100.
But is that
mean,
really true?
I don't think it's as. I mean,
Because you
Sue was
look at,
at that meeting,
Yeah.
so she
Yeah.
spoke
Well,
to
Sue
it.
thought every single one was very confidential, if you remember. Then as we went to the end, we were kind of saying, well, no, I think we're taking confidentially the
But I
wrong.
do
Yeah.
have
Correct.
that one
I'm just
listed
not
as an outline.
sure.
Because Sue, every person that came in, it was, no, that's highly, when they're playing cards, they can't be talked, they can't. So
Mm.
we were rating confidentially high on Sue's, and then as we were lessening that criteria.
correct. Because you look at all the rest, and there are a couple, assistant to the sewer, that came in high. So that's kind of how I looked at it. So the aid, which one is the aid? The
The
one that,
dietary aid,
Yes.
the second, the lower one? So
the first level.
the first level, not the lead in the kitchen.
No.
So 100.
There's two levels above
100
that.
is probably not correct. I would think. Because I don't know what's the confidential nature of it.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, I think what she was saying is that they probably see their addresses of Wheels of Wheels or what people come in is confidential and
But their
speaking,
address
but I
is
think
not
that's a little
confidential.
different than what we've been.
Their
Correct.
address isn't confidential. It's all public information. You can Google it.
So
And
that you gave her, sorry, Sue, go ahead.
So, and even when, if people have special conditions, I
Yeah,
have to say, because I work at the food bank all the time, that people put that in the internet to ask for it, so
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It isn't private data
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
Well, just to give you an example, right? The hundreds on the board is the HR director, COA outreach coordinator, COA van driver,
Now, van drivers,
COA
There's
meal
another
site
one.
manager,
That's another one.
COA outreach assistant, COA assistant meal site manager, and the next 100 is COA dietary aid.
Mm.
So
Nobody else
there's
got
a-
hundreds except you.
there's a pattern.
Yeah.
But that's because when Sue was here, it
Yeah.
was like we were
Yes,
rating
we
them
agree
And it
all.
was
with it.
early.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
our
and
first one,
early.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was our first
But you're
one.
right. There's a lot of 100s. Yeah.
So when we were talking about how do you find the outliers, that's how you find the outliers.
And they're all, so with the exception of
That's what I just said.
assistant town manager, they're all. It's all
Well,
COA.
And
outreach coordinator.
the outreach coordinator.
Yes,
sorry.
she would have.
She would have it too, because people come in and tell her things, because I've been in there
Yeah.
myself to talk about my own Medicare stuff, and
And
you
I would
tell
say
her,
the COA director.
you have to
too.
listen to a lot of
Oh,
stuff and ask
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
personal
yeah,
questions
yeah.
to get
Your
there.
Medicare number.
So I would
all
agree
that,
with
yeah.
that. I think the other layers within the COA definitely have some level of confidentiality, but probably not as high as the outreach coordinator or the director.
Of the director,
The
correct.
outreach coordinator. Oh.
But that's just, my
So
think that's
even,
opinion on it.
even
so.
Sue's,
She didn't have 100?
no,
Oh,
she's the COA director,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
remember, we thought she was too low. When we got all
Yeah.
said and done, we thought she was too
Too
low.
We did.
so maybe
Her points were
highlight
80.
that box, that 100, or whatever she currently is, and change that to 100. We haven't rated that yet, but since we're talking about it, maybe just
Right.
highlight it as a,
Oh.
and then change it to 100 from whatever it was, because I think her position overseeing all these other confidential positions would
So if we
definitely be.
stick with dietary, so the 100 there is a question, and
Yeah.
this one's a question, and
She's circling the hundreds.
this one's a question,
So
Yeah,
if we
all
look-
the COAs,
but not the coordinator,
outreach
but the
coordinator.
van driver
The van
is.
driver is.
Right. And my guess is, that
You want
we
me
need-
to highlight
I
these?
mean,
yes, I think so.
The
So-
thing with the van driver, though, bringing the residents to their medical appointments, I mean, well, I
Nope.
guess that's not really HIPAA because he's not involved in, yeah.
You shouldn't be asking them what they
No,
go to the doctor's
you're
for.
right.
I'm sure they're telling them, but
Some
Yeah.
take privilege, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Some elderly don't want to get on the van, wait for the
Right.
van.
so
and they-
then we want the COA dietary aid to be highlighted.
So if we look at that job description, for instance,
Meal
let's
site manager,
pick that
yes.
one.
Okay,
So looking at the job description, what speaks to you as confidential as written? And these are the copies that I had. I didn't reprint them because I didn't see anything on here. So I don't know if you had other notes on these, but these
those
are
were
the
the,
ones.
those are the early ones. I actually looked myself because I kept copies of everything.
Yeah,
The later ones I made a lot of notes on,
Yeah.
but these I did not make
Okay.
a
We
lot
were
of
just
notes on because we were
getting-
just getting
yeah,
used to
It
it.
was
Where,
early.
what one did you want us to go?
dietary.
Aid.
And are we redoing?
If the confidentiality sticks out, I mean,
That's,
if you want to
that's
go through
what,
the whole thing, but if everything else
No,
seemed to
in
be
the
in
job
sync.
description, she wants to know in the job description.
I'm reading it, but
it's
I don't
Stick out,
see anything yet.
not by points.
I don't,
So, I mean, other than what they may overhear in conversation,
if you spent any time at the senior center, you hear a lot of stuff
right,
that isn't confidential necessarily after a bit.
But that's what I was saying, the van driver, they're gonna know everything because, I mean, I remember my mom, she just wanted to talk to somebody.
Yep.
So it's like,
and that's what makes it
and
confidential.
and you don't have work to go to anymore. You don't have these
Right.
things in your life, right? So what are you talking about? Doctor friends.
Personal life.
Yeah.
So just, I would say reading the confidentiality piece based on the job description, if that's the one area that really sticks out.
Well, can
That's
I
page
ask,
14.
does Sue know we're redoing this?
No, it isn't up, it isn't Sue's issue.
No, I
Sue's
know,
issue
but
is the
I
job
just
description.
wanted to be transparent that we,
But at some point, we would have to go back and tell her that we
Yeah.
discussed
So I
this.
think the way we left it last meeting was that the committee wanted to review these kind of on their own. Now we've had that feedback, that input from the directors, and now you're looking at it in terms of what has been logged and be able to make judgment and redo what needed to be focused on the areas that stand out. So at
So
this point, I think,
the issue here is that most of them in this particular category took a 1. Every once in a while, a person took a 2 for some reason as a level 6. So 1 is little or none, and 2
I have
is includes limited amount with minimal disruption if it became known. So they're not too like employee evaluations, but position includes supervisory, which is 2. So I'm almost thinking that it's a 1.
Oh, for the dietary aid?
Confidential.
Because that would be 20. And the only other ones who took a higher number was the videographer. No, I'm sorry, reading that wrong. Well, the library assistant took a little higher and the assistant to the sewer took a little higher, but everybody else took a 1. In that same grouping of value.
So what I'm struggling with is if we are going to recommend changes, like for these, how do we capture that so that it'd be easy to go back and say, hey, Sue, we want to have a conversation with you because we think that, for example, the confidential info is rated too high for your employees.
I would just
and
color
here's why.
code it.
Just
I would,
color
like,
code it?
make it blue or pick a
But
color.
what was it before? So we could change it here. And that would end up changing the total.
So maybe copy the sheet. Make a copy of it and we'll change the copy.
Oh, there you go. That's the way to do it.
And then we can color code that.
Yeah.
Because remember, the recommendation is what we decide as a committee. And they came to the meetings and they helped us if we were stuck because we didn't know enough.
Right, because we're going
But
off.
they ultimately can't override what we as a committee decide. If we decide
Right.
it's a 1 or a 2, we
It
can tell
is.
Sue that. She can make another case
Mhm.
for why we were incorrect. But for the most part, I think that it then kind of fits with the rest of the people in a similar
Right.
job function.
So then right now there will be 3 tabs. The 1017 tab, because that's when we decided we were done.
Okay,
start.
that's what that was called. Okay.
So there's one, it's by date. So it's 1017, then 1024 was the last meeting that we had, which is where we finished, right?
Mhm.
And then we said, all right, let's create a new copy. We're gonna call it something different and we're gonna put it over here and that's what we're gonna work on. Today's copy is called 1113.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, 2023.
And if you just highlight those,
Yeah.
then are you gonna make a note to have a conversation with her, or would you like? to
I think anything
capture
that's
that?
in, what color are you using?
Yellow.
Did we
Like
use yellow for
highlighted,
other
yeah.
things or?
No, nothing anymore.
Okay, good. So
So
anything in yellow, I
now-
think will,
So I added a column that said outlier flag.
Yeah.
Because doing pivot tables like this, right? Then you can say, I want to know anything that's flagged or whatever. This is gonna be a problem.
Is it possible to put in the box a note?
Yes,
You
we
can
can
make a
put
note to
notes
the-
in.
In the
Yeah.
box, as I recall.
You can
I haven't
put,
used it as much.
Side
you
of it.
can put it, you can add a comment to the cell,
Yes.
which puts a little decoration on the cell. And if you
Yes.
hover on it, you can see
I
the
think that will always be able to tell us what
What
kind
we
of
were
change we
thinking.
you could do
made.
that, just a column with notes, whatever.
it does take away the ability.
You can still sort it. huh?
Summarize and sort.
No, you can still run pivot tables off of it. It's just, yeah,
Okay,
not
That works.
by,
If not, just do a notes column. Change from.
but you're
A
gonna
to-
have notes on every column.
Yeah,
This is
you
my,
would.
this is
that is
what
the
I'm
dilemma.
You could,
saying.
This is too
eventually,
many
yeah.
Right.
categories.
Yeah, there's so many
Like this
categories.
is isolated to
cell
one,
category.
so we
Yeah.
want- yeah. Okay,
That's why I was like.
so what'd you
"Mm,
say you're
what to
changing
do."
this to, or you're suggesting a 1?
I'm suggesting a 1. 1 is position includes no or virtually no access to dealings with confidential information. Position may include access and or dealings with routine data, records, and public information. The difference in the 2 is position includes access to a limited amount of confidential information. Disclosure would result in minimal disruption and damage. Position may include supervisory work, preparation, and dealings with confidential documents such as employee evaluations. But I think the aid to the kitchen is not.
Right, so we're thinking of making it, what, is
Oh,
it 20?
20.
20.
And what's the new total?
New total is 305.
That drops it to a 5, a new
So that's-
5,
So that's gonna drop down.
to a new 5.
So the rubric grade on that's gonna now be 5 instead of 6.
So if we go to the
So
assistant mayor man, you need anything else on that?
I'm still trying to figure out how do we know what we've changed? So I'm going to highlight it
Mhm.
and change it
Mhm.
in this
Mhm.
version, okay? Just so
And-
that you know.
And then in the comment, if you're putting the comment, we need a comment on that?
I don't think so.
No, it's
maybe not.
highlighted, and then we can compare, oh, we see a highlight, well, let's look at the sheet before, what changed?
Right,
So, okay,
Well, we'll know what changed because we highlighted. it.
yeah, because it's
Yeah.
highlighted.
And I'm making a note. of
right,
the
like
job
what was
description.
it before?
Yeah.
It
The
was a
previous,
hundred,
right.
right, so we can look at that.
Is there anything else before we move from that? Is there anything else in that particular job that raised any eyebrows? I don't think so.
I didn't see any.
No, I didn't think so.
All right, so that
So
was,
van driver? Was the same, is that the only area that you saw that
Assistant,
stuck out?
assistant mail manager was the
Oh,
same.
Yeah, assistant meal site manager. We think
So-
should be also a 20.
Supervisors part-time dietary aides as well as meals on Wheels. This might be a
assistant,
two.
yes.
Because there's supervisory. Oh, right.
According
which
to the
will give-
description.
Yep. So that's
That'd be
what,
40.
40?
So does the second person actually work for the, and not Susan? I thought she told us,
Everybody reports to
Susan.
the COA director.
so she doesn't really do the reviews.
No, Sue would do that. If we don't have reviews, but if that was the case, Sue would do them. Or the
So she
COA
really
director
isn't a
would do that.
supervisor.
But she might supervise the dietary aides
Yeah.
prepping
Yeah.
But
the
that isn't,
kitchen
not
or,
that isn't confidential. The only, if
No.
she did their reviews, it would be confidential.
Right.
and the Meals on Wheels, which is the public information. Yeah,
So it would seem as though that.
It's a two, I mean, a
No,
one,
it's a one still, I think.
it's a one.
But
Because
she's,
Sue's saying, it says here, position may include supervisory work, dealing with some confidential documents such as employees' evaluations.
But it doesn't.
It
But it
doesn't,
doesn't,
so she
no.
says it should
Okay.
be a one, which is 20.
Fine.
where did you see that? I just want to make a,
degree two. That's what she was
no,
reading.
where on the page did you see
Right
that?
here, number two.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you read it in here. That's
No.
what I thought. Okay. Because I don't, it isn't in there.
No. Okay, so that one's done.
Um,
Was there,
although it does say here supervised part-time dietary aides.
That's
I don't
us.
think they
But
really.
you said that's not confidential and for
it's
that they're
not
supervising.
evaluations.
I don't think that is, yeah,
The word supervises
Makes-
is,
Yeah.
is,
As an indicator.
it is usually, but it does say supervises, does, reviews. But in this case, they don't. So
right.
It doesn't say it.
maybe it should say oversees instead of supervises. I think that word is what we're getting caught on.
A supervisor generally does the reviews.
Yeah.
well, and that's why I'm getting caught, not on supervisor,
Right.
such as employee evaluation, so they're being specific,
Correct.
Well, they are,
And-
such as,
right?
that's on the level
I
2.
could
though,
agree
right?
with a one.
Yes, that's why we're going to a one for
Got
20.
it, got it. Okay,
Okay, who's our next one?
so hang on.
Okay, sorry.
So the number dropped to 350.
350.
That is a six.
Right, that dropped that also. It went from 7 to
To six.
6.
Okay.
What's the new number? I'm sorry.
350.
Oh, sorry.
Good. Okay.
Okay, that one's done. What's our next one?
COA outreach assistant.
And what
Right
did
now,
they
that
get?
has confidential at 100 as well.
At 100.
I don't know, this might be just as high
Well,
as the
I think that,
coordinator.
I think that we felt as though that her responsibilities were high. And that's why we kind of named her.
Kind of
She
working
might be-
hand in hand with the coordinator.
Mm. Oh, I would agree with that. I would say it's behind.
Well, it says right here, has access to department-related confidential information.
And she does the, like the Shine program too, so.
Is that, looking at
This is
the,
an old one,
the
and that's a new one.
degrees, if you read it, is 5 the right one? No, you read the language from it. There, I have it already. I'm not sure if 5 is the right great for this level.
You're still in confidentiality.
Yeah.
It could be a 3, moderate, because it
Yeah.
says
I think
Has
5 is
access.
too high.
position, I would think a 3.
Does she do supervisory? No. Right?
No, because Sue's,
Employee evaluation, employee
So,
information.
I mean, she does get a lot of information, but it's what people want to share with her. It's not
Correct.
that she is going and has access to it and misuses it, or she isn't doing employee stuff. She's doing
Yeah, it's
visitors who
public.
ask her
It's, I mean,
questions.
it's the
Well,
public. that's
The job
comes in.
requirement saying related confidential information, the department related, not
Well,
customers, not
so they have,
the elderly group.
Yeah, this
but they
is
have
on,
information based on who's there and how old they are and
their needs.
their need, if they have special needs, that's probably a little notation. And they have that new database about that they tie in with the police in case the person needs extra care and
Wellness
gets
check.
lost and stuff like that. So
So I think this has a good
Some.
amount, moderate to heavy amount of confidential information, but probably in a different
It's not the way that it's
way.
written here. but-
right, because Heather would probably be the 5, or if there's not anything beyond that. You know what I mean? She has
yes, she is
that
it
type
all.
of position.
Yeah, but that's why 3 is moderate amount and 2 is limited amount.
Sorry.
No, I have plenty.
So 2 says access to a limited amount of confidential and 3 is a moderate amount of
Yeah,
confidential.
yeah.
But this position, I have to stop saying she and he and all this stuff. This position probably has the same level of confidentiality as the coordinator though.
You mean as the director?
No, the outreach coordinator.
This is the
Oh,
coordinator, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
the
this is the
assistant.
assistant. And I didn't pick up
Oh,
on
I'm
that either.
sorry.
I would agree with that. Probably the same amount as the coordinator.
I think the coordinator has a higher volume, being there for more hours, but probably the same level of
Yeah. And
confidentiality.
say types of
Types,
confidential.
there you go, information.
Yeah. Like
So what was that position rated?
100 also.
Okay.
They were all.
All
Yeah,
positions in the
they
COA
were
were
all
on
100, yeah. But this is where we really need to kind of work the,
So
So
if
the
we,
The words.
assistant,
about 6 minutes, I just wanna
okay,
yeah,
bring attention to that.
well, this has been helpful. It's the first time we tried it. So
yeah. This
So we
is
knew it
actually
might
been
be a
really
little-
good.
rugged
No,
tonight.
that's fine, and it's
Yeah.
just,
This has been good.
So the assistant,
Mhm.
does she,
outreach.
is she more an administrative person or does she actually meet with residents around?
When you say meet in person,
Yeah,
or,
because the reason that the coordinator's role takes extra points is because of the nature of that interpersonal relationship,
Yeah.
meeting with all the seniors and trying
Frequent
to.
contact
Yeah.
with towns, elderly,
yeah, I don't know if it's in
council on
person or on the
aging,
phone,
various
but.
town departments and other community.
That could be just greeting them, not
No,
researching their Medicare.
No, she's not, no, she's doing research,
She's doing research too.
this position, yes.
The assistant. Okay.
And
Based
she's
off
meeting-
of, based off of the coordinator saying I need you to research this?
Could be.
What?
Is the coordinator herself the only one that's trained by the state to do Shine?
I believe so.
And the assistant doesn't really do
I
Shine?
don't believe so.
Okay,
So the assistant is taking direction from the coordinator and may not know who it's for.
I'm not sure of that. I
Hmm.
can't answer that. I'm not sure.
it still isn't, I mean, if people come in and share their information about, I need this and I need this, and this is the kind of drugs I take. and,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the Shine role.
right.
Yeah, so like as Joanna read, over 60 population.
So I would think the
Age
coordinator takes a higher degree of confidentiality than the assistant.
So I would say
Just
that
slightly.
she be a 3 and the other be a 4.
I was gonna say 2 and 3. maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2 and 3. I don't see it as 3 and 4,
Okay.
only because, yeah, I get it that it's like, I could tell you what medications, but my doctor asks the same thing, the nurse asks the same thing, right? I mean, you're given this information all the time.
That's a good language, 'cause I
Right,
can't
so that would
decide.
be 40, 2 to 40.
For the assistant,
Yes. Right, we said she would
Right.
be a 40. And then,
So if you look into the statement of duties,
for which one?
they, for the outreach coordinator and the outreach assistants, just to clarify what the roles do, they both read the same. So assess their needs, provide a wide variety of information, and make referrals as necessary.
yeah, so it's probably
It
like
says the same thing.
if the coordinator's not there or unavailable or whatever. You get the
Should kind of
assistant.
step in,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or they can share the, if there's.
Yeah, because
overloaded.
this person's hours are primarily after the coordinator leaves.
Oh, okay, then that makes sense.
So I
Okay.
My
think
sense is
these
that we're
hours are
never
2 to
gonna have
7.
these two
Yeah.
be comparable in.
No, one's
One is a
the
lesser
coordinator.
position.
Yeah.
And the other is a,
So then the assistant is at a 40, is that right?
What,
A level 2,
number 2
yeah,
is 40,
and then the coordinator is
3.
3 is
3?
60.
60, okay.
That's what we said.
All right, so that changes numbers at the end.
I'm
We've got-
thinking, I hate to do this to you, but I'm thinking just to,
Let's
Yep.
finish what is the grade?
oh, sorry,
390,
390.
Which one are you on, assistant?
assistant
390 is a 6.
is a 6.
So they went from a 7 to a 6.
Yeah. And then the
Manager, that was the
outreach
assistant.
coordinator is 595.
So the
That's a 9.
assistant's higher than
And
the,
that's
oh,
what
no,
she was.
no.
Stayed the same.
Yep.
So even though we went down in the number of points, it stayed the same.
Okay, so now we're finished.
Okay, now we're good. Now we're good. You can call me.
Nancy, any public comment?
She's still there, she's still there.
You're on mute.
Nope, no comment.
Okay, any board comment?
Nope.
I would accept a motion to,
Just a quick question, so are we done with the COA
No.
part?
No.
No, there's still more,
there's still
so
more to do.
ongoing
Yeah.
business, so
Yeah.
if we
But
wanna
it was
try
very
to
helpful.
Yeah, this is
set a
good.
meeting, or no, we cannot meet on the 28th.
Oh,
can we meet on the 28th, just here, not there?
I don't think there's a link. I don't know if I'll have a link. I can look into it and
See if we
see
can,
who have a
and we just don't have
location.
to do a hybrid. If
Yeah,
someone
that's
wants,
true. If there's
if
no link,
someone
we
wants
just
to
meet in
come,
person.
if
Okay.
someone wants to hear it, then they
Okay.
have to physically come that way.
Okay,
There's no link,
If
but
there's
we
a
don't want to
space.
stop meeting. Okay, so we'll
Fine.
still meet the 28th, just
as long as there's
wherever,
a home for
yeah,
us.
as long as there's a room, okay? Does that make sense? I don't
Yeah.
need to be bossy.
No,
No,
that's
okay.
perfect.
All right,
Um,
so
I make a
I would
motion.
then-
I do. But can I be a PIA here for a second? When you send out the meeting notice, can you put where it is?
It is on the
it is on
agenda.
the, it's on the,
No, not on the agenda.
Yes,
it's
No,
on the
no,
invite.
not in the agenda. It's not in the invite. This is why I was like not here. Cause I was like, it's Zoom, but that's not in the invite either. So I went to my calendar, I'm like, John, I gotta figure out, is this a Zoom meeting or is it not? a Zoom
always go
meeting?"
to the agenda. Don't
But I
always go
did-
by my, because I have a million things going on.
I did it, but
Alright, let's close up shop so I can get rid of this link. We can
Okay.
argue offline.
so I forgot this until I'm driving up here. I'm like, oh,
I
it's
make
in
a
the
motion
agenda.
to adjourn
Thank
the
you.
meeting at,
At 6:45, is that correct?
6:44,
6:44 PM.
second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Oh,
you.
she's already gone. Nancy's already gone.